Well, I arrived here in the I arrived here in the I arrived here in the and I found a paradise, something that I couldn't believe. I mean, it was a beautiful place with fantastic weather, and the payeses and the extranjeros, they were here. They were most of them Americans, Canadians, Swedish, and painters, artists. Fantastic people. There were no classes. The houses, they were open. Nobody closed the doors. It was a great way of life.
I came in 1972, and I arrived to an island which was virgin nature and sunny, with flowers, and everything was green, and it was just so overwhelming that I couldn't believe it. It just hit me so strongly that I felt like being in paradise.
In Spanish is Ana Maria Noche y Día. It means Ana Maria day and night, because I was everywhere. I don't want to lose 1 minute of this party, or in the beach, or in the discotheques. Everywhere I was, I tried to be all around the island, always 24 hours. I was sleeping nothing, just few hours sometimes when my body was going to die. When I start to work in Bachat, they tell me, okay, you can be go-go dancer. And I said, yes, but please, with one clausula, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I want to go away. And then the boss of the dancer in this time, she said, okay, you can do it, but shut up. Don't say this to anyone. And when it's 5 o'clock, you just take the door and go where you want. And so at 5 o'clock every night, when I finished work, I ran to dance in another discotheque, and I ran to cook to make more crazy around. Like this, and it was okay.
Black Irish in Montserrat. Shot Twirish O'Rourke.
Unfortunately, it's a bit far to take the wife and family. To be precise, 4,128 miles from Cork, give or take a few. It's on the Emerald Isle, all right, and they'll feel quite at home among its Atlantic beaches, green fields, harps and shamrocks. But the trouble is that this Kinsale is at the wrong side of the Atlantic. It's Kinsale in Montserrat, a West Indian island, the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean, and home of a unique race of people, the Black Irish.
It was under the press ganging of Cromwell that hundreds of people from Cork, Kilkenny and Drogheda were expelled to the West Indies. They would have arrived just as the first importations of African slaves took place. So, both cruelly uprooted from their homes, Irish and African Negro shared a common suffering, a common grievance, and for the most part lived together in peace, lived together, common understanding, common understanding, common understanding, common understanding, common understanding, common understanding, common understanding.
Lie the bones of Ryans and Rileys, Dailies and Sweeneys, Chewits and O'Garas, names as Irish as the shamrock. But they're not the remains of white Irishmen. Here lie black slaves and their descendants. The story behind this strange legacy is a hidden, or at least a forgotten chapter in Ireland's history. It's the story of slaves who toiled for Irish masters, who were driven by Irish overseers, who rose against those Irish owners. But by an irony of history, many were to die bearing the names of their oppressors, Irish names, still commonplace here today, 300 years after they were first heard on Montserrat. And they're here because carried to the new world were the conflicts of the old and the divisions between Catholic Irish and Protestant English. The first Irish to land on Montserrat were Catholics, expelled from nearby St. Kitts by the British governor. As news spread of a Catholic haven in the Caribbean, more Irish came from Virginia, where they too had been victims of religious persecution. Within the next decades, from Britain and Ireland, more came. Servants, political prisoners, vagrants, men, women and children from among the poor and their institutions. Craftsmen came, and perhaps some too who had been freed from their period of indenture, came to Montserrat in search of a new life. Centuries on, what is an Irishman today to make of the strange legacy which those early settlers left?
This is your country, our country. We have to live in it, unless, like so many of our sons and daughters, we emigrate to a land which offers more opportunity to earn a living wage than does our own country.
The school was run by the parish priest. He would say regularly, he would go around, he would say, Liverpool for you, Cricklewood for you, Kilburn for you. The actual heartache of leaving a place where you knew for somewhere that you didn't know, and somewhere that you had been told was the enemy of Ireland, was a godless country, was a place where only riffraff went. It seemed extraordinary since it's only 60 miles across the water, but there was a sense of loss of status, fear, not quite sure who you were anymore.
In August of 1952.
1960.
The 30th of July 1954.
1963. Green as grass after coming out of the country. I was green.
The mass emigration from England, the younger generation don't know anything about that. I don't think they really want to know.
You had to leave Ireland because we were big families. There was nothing in it. It was poor. It's destitute. Sorry to have to say this, destitute. It's the best country in the world, and they're the greatest people in the world. They went to the States. They've made good, but they won't make good in England because from the time they start in England, they're not wanted.
The night I come to England, we come over on the Princess Maud, and I'd never been on a ship in my life, you know, and it was really, really rough, you know. I arrived in Birmingham that Sunday. I tell you, it was the 30th of July 1954, the day of the World Cup final, West Germany and Hungary. And we were going around looking for digs, and everywhere we went, there was digs for 2 men, but no Irish, no Irish. And that frightened me. It really did frighten me. The second day I was there, I went looking for work, but I finished up that night, I was roaring and crying. And I told my mate I was going to go home because nothing appealed to me. I was frightened of the police for one thing, and you know, it felt like because you were Irish, They were watching you every step of the way.
My name is Bill McGrainer. I come from Wicklow Town, Ireland. I was probably one of the shyest people that ever come out of Ireland, you know. I worked with Irish, naturally being in the building trade, but I never ever joined in their way of life. I never went to the Irish clubs. See, I always had this in my head, people that ask questions. Where will it come from? What did I do? What school I went to? We had this built-in shame, shall we call it.
I don't want to fall out of the queue. I don't want to be sent out of the system for speaking against the system.
I've been in Ireland for the past 4 years.
For 8 years now.
7 years with my child.
6 years.
5 years and 6 years. 6 years now. Past 6 years and 4 months now.
8 years.
I want a permission. This government is not giving me a permission, but I love this country, I like this country, I respect this country.
They should allow us to work in order for us to provide for our family, so that our children will see us as a responsible mother and father and family in Highland.
We live in cramped conditions and mobile homes are very small. I find it very hard to do my homework because I can't concentrate at all. When you close the doors, you can still hear my brothers and sisters crying. And there are 5 people in my house, so living with 4 other people and my mother, it's very hard. You can hear her crying at night, and it's very hard for me to sleep.
What I want is a home for my child. I want her to live like other children, because every year when it's her birthday, she comes to me and asks me, "Mommy, are you going to do my birthday again in the corridor?" Who will be happy with their child doing their birthday in the corridor? A hotel corridor, for that matter.
said. If I get enough points, I'd love to go on to study accounting, but unfortunately, as an asylum seeker, it's not very easy to do so, because before you get your status, you have to pay large sums of money, and which our parents are not able to afford, and unfortunately, you're not able to avail of the student grant. You're not an Irish citizen.
I did my uni 4 years ago, but unfortunately I can't go to college. I had applied for science in Cork, but I got my place. I had to defer because as an asylum seeker, you're not entitled to go to college. At the moment, I've been sitting at home, I've been doing nothing. I'm just going round and round in circles and waiting. I don't know how long I'll be waiting to go to college. You know, sometimes you think, okay, maybe the next year I might be able to go, but it's been 4 years. It's becoming more and more frustrating.
I'm not allowed to work, but I'm entitled to a living allowance of €19.10. I'm an insulin-dependent diabetic, so on prescriptions a week I spend €7.50, which comes off my €19.10.
I have two children, teenage children. They each get €9.
Powder. I need to buy dishwashing liquid. I need to buy cleaning detergents of my €19.10 a week. There's no way I can manage.
After being 5 years in the system, finally I got my paper, and this is good news. Happy. I'm focusing on finding a work, a job to do. But unfortunately, I found it very, very difficult because employers will ask about work experience. I missed because I was not allowed to work at that period of time for the 5 years. End of April, I got my paper, but about 2 months I didn't get a house to live due to different things. One of them is rent allowance is not accepted. Second, the landlords were asking about references. Unfortunately, the center where I was living, they refused to give me written reference.
You can see me working on this trust, thinking that I'm normal, but to tell you the truth, I'm mentally disturbed because I've been there for 8 years. We don't know when we are going to come out, and that's really mentally disturbing. Some of us, we came here when we were normal, but now we are abnormal. And some of us came here when we were walking with your 2 legs, being able to do things for yourself, but now we can't do nothing now.
I'm here since 2008. Last week on Thursday, they deported my husband. I feel very bad because he's the one who supports me. Since that day, I don't do anything because it's very difficult for me to live.
Ladies and gentlemen, remind you the train currently places must be in flight mode from
Actually, I'm not feeling well.
When I came here, I was okay. I was not depressed. My brain was functioning normally and correct. But ever since I got there, I lose my mind, I lose my temper. I am so short-tempered since I got to this place. I am depressed. I've been taking depression medication since I was 27 years old. Today I'm 30 years old. They said it's stress-related. And if stress could remove my hair, so what next is going to happen? I need a life.
dad is Irish, his mother rather is from Galway and his father is from Westport, and then my mother is African English, so their grandmother are both from Wales. It was a little bit easier for us, I guess, because people knew my dad's family and they started to see us growing up in the town. But people would still always stop us in the street. I remember like constantly being stopped in the street. Like you have fully grown adults like pulling your hair and like kind of touching you as if we're kind of like some sort of weird creature that they've never seen before. In hindsight, you kind of realize how messed up that is that someone thinks it's okay just to touch another person's child. Like you don't know them. Like what are you doing? I have no problem with people ask you a question, but if they then follow that question up with the same question, or they don't believe your answer because it doesn't fit with what they expect, that's when it gets frustrating. So people often ask me, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Westport. No, but where are you really from? I was like, well, I was born in London, but I lived in Westport my whole life. Oh, so you're Irish? Well, yes, I told you I was Irish at the start of this conversation. Like, I don't know why it took you 6 questions to come to the conclusion that I've already made about myself. I had one incident, a guy in a piece of here trying to set my hair on fire as a joke. And then got really irate that I got angry with him for trying to set me on fire. Always learning Halloween, and always got these like weird questions, and like you'd be seeing gangs in blackface, and then they would like ask you to pose for a photo with them, which was so utterly bizarre. It was like it would be laughable if you just kind of like you're doing something that's really offensive and wanting someone that you're offending to take a photo with you so you can share it with your friends as a joke. Like it's just so weird on so many levels. I don't think Ireland is fully actualised yet as a country of where we want to go and kind of what us as a population is kind of doing. I think we're kind of, it's almost like a rebellious teenager who's just like, screw you, mom, dad, I can do what I want. But like, at the same time, you're just kind of pushing back. And like, I think the pushback is getting stronger, which is great. Dublin, especially as a city, you can see what's happening. Like, it's just very clear. You see like groups setting up things to help the homeless people. You see people helping people with substance abuse issues. I just think that like, if we want to actually become as diverse and as multicultural and to the point where some people say we are and some people think that we're going, and as people like me hope that we're going, I think that at some point you're just going to have to say, do you know what, kind of screw it, we're pushing on through. Ireland in this kind of vague, like twee notion will actually catch up with the reality of what's actually in Ireland and what it means to be Irish and people that are Irish, and that kind of all the facets that kind of entail, I suppose.
I don't want to fall out of the queue. I don't want to be sent out of the system for speaking against the system.
I've been in Ireland for the past 4 years.
For 8 years now.
7 years with my child.
6 years.
5 years and 6 months.
6 years now. Have 6 years and 4 months now.
Immediately 8 years.
I want a permission for what? This government is not give to me a permission, but I love this country, I like this country, I respect this country.
They should allow us to work in order for us to provide for our family, so that our children will see us as a responsible mother and father and family in Highland.
We live in cramped conditions and in our homes that are very small. I find it very hard to do my homework because I can't concentrate at all. When you close the doors, you can still hear my brothers and sisters crying. And there are 5 people in my house, so living with 4 other people and my mother, it's very hard. You can hear her crying at night, and it's very hard for me to sleep.
What I want is a home for my child. I want her to live like other children, because every year when it's her birthday, she comes to me and asks me, Mommy, are you going to do my birthday again in the corridor? Who will be happy with their child doing their birthday in the corridor? A hotel corridor for that matter.
Earlier this summer, I sat my leaving cert. If I get enough points, I'd love to go on to study accounting. But unfortunately, as an asylum seeker, it's not very easy to do so, because before you get your status, you'd have to pay large sums of money, and which our parents are not able to afford. And unfortunately, you're not able to avail of the student grant. You're not an Irish citizen.
I did my D.E.A.F 4 years ago, but unfortunately I can't go to college. I had applied for herbal science in Cork, but I got my place. I had to defer because as an asylum seeker, you're not entitled to go to college. At the moment, I've been sitting at home. I haven't been doing nothing. I've been just going round and round in circles and waiting. I don't know how long I'll be waiting to go to college. You know, sometimes you think, okay, maybe the next year I might be able to go, but it's been 4 years. It's becoming more and more frustrating.
I'm not allowed to work, but I'm entitled to a living allowance of €19.10 a week. I'm an insulin-dependent diabetic, so on prescriptions a week I spend €7.50, which comes off my €19.10. I have 2 children, teenage children. They each get €9.60 a week, and they have things that they need for school. I need to pay for those activities and school books from that allowance as well. I need to buy washing powder. I need to buy dishwashing liquid. I need to buy cleaning detergents of my €19.10 a week. There's no way I can manage.
After being 5 years in the system, finally I got my paper and the student is happy. I'm focusing on finding a work or a job to do, but unfortunately I found it very, very difficult because employers will ask about work experience. I missed because I was not allowed to work at that period of time for 5 years. End of April I got my paper, but about 2 months I didn't get a house to live due to different things. One of them is rent allowance is not accepted. Second, the landlords were asking about references. Unfortunately, the center where I was living, they refused to give me the written reference.
You can see me walking on the street thinking that I'm normal, but to tell you the truth, I'm mentally disturbed because of being there for 8 years. We don't know when we are going to come out, and that's really mentally disturbing. Some of us, we came here when we were normal, but now we are abnormal. And some of us came here when we were walking with your 2 legs, being able to do things for yourself, but now we can't do nothing.
I'm here since 2008. Last week on Thursday, they deported my husband. I feel very bad because he's the one who supports me. Since that day, I don't do anything because it's very difficult for me to live with 2 children without my husband. Actually, I'm not feeling well.
When I came here, I was okay. I was not depressed. My brain was functioning normally and correct. But ever since I got there, I lose my mind, I lose my temper. I am so short-tempered since I got to this place. I am depressed. I've been taking depression medication since I was 27 years old. Today I am 30 years old. My hair is going. They said it's stress-related. And if stress could remove my hair, so what next is going to happen? I need a life just like any other human.
Hashem.